I want to welcome everybody to this demonstration. What happened to Shanan Howard James Pitts? His mother tells Shank what she thinks happened to her son. I'm going to be bringing his mom up on the panel with me in just a few. Shanan Howard James Pitts was gunned down on a Winston-Salem, North Carolina street corner. The mom has stated to me that when she went to the cops for answers, they couldn't back up what they told her had happened. So allegedly, Shanan and another friend went to rob some guys. And this is what was told to Jackie, which is Shanan's mother, that Shanan and this other friend went to rob some guys. Well, Shanan ended up losing his life. Now, the cops are telling Jackie that no arrests have been made because it was self-defense. It was self-defense. Shanan tried to rob these guys. These guys shot Shanan in self-defense. Now I'm going to be bringing Jackie up to let you all know why she believes that her son's death didn't have anything to do with self-defense. But in the meantime, I'm going to let Jackie, in a pre-recorded video that I already done with her, I'm going to let her give you all a brief demonstration on what she feels. And then she will be joining me on the panel. Now, for all those that don't know your son, what can you tell us about your son? What type of son was he?
He was the best. Very funny. He was a funny guy. Always the funny guy. I will say that. The life of the party. Very smart. He was an all-A scholar. Always made honor roll. Very good in school. Very respectable to everyone. He was definitely about to go to college and everything. They told him he couldn't graduate due to the circumstances of what had happened at Forsyth Tech. which I don't speak on that much because it's a lot that came with that also that was neglected. Nobody ever knew the backstory on it. They just seen what had happened with that. It definitely didn't define who he was as a person. There was a reason behind that. Whether it was a good reason or not, I don't condone his wrong. He was definitely wrong for that. But there was a reasoning. Um, but there's no reasoning. And if there is, I would like to know what it is. But my son was awesome. He was great. He had the potential to just do any and everything. He overcame every obstacle that was put in front of him. Um, Even without his dad, that was one of his biggest fights, you know. But he even dealt with that and became to be a strong man, a strong individual. So no matter what was put in front of him, he was a fighter. He fought till I got here. He was shot 8 to 10 times, and he did not stop breathing till I got here. So I feel like in some ways he might have waited for me to get here. I was right around the corner. It happened less than 10 minutes. It was less than 10 minutes that everything happened. But he was great. He was great. It had a big major impact on me and my family and everyone around us. He was awesome. He was.
Another sad, sad case. Another mother who lost a child due to gun violence. When will it end? When will it end? When will we, the people, stand up and say enough is enough, and not only say enough is enough, but when will we as the people begin to make a change? When will we as a people begin to make a difference? Don't let nobody tell you that gun violence can't be stopped. Don't let nobody tell you it's nothing that you can do. Don't let nobody tell you, hey, look, this has been going on for years and it's going to continue for years to come. If you have somebody that speaks like that, then you already know that they are part of the problem. Gun violence is a problem. And the last time I checked, any problem can be solved. It's up to the people to solve the problems. You may ask, Shank, how can we stop gun violence? How can we solve these problems that has been plaguing the world? Because Black people aren't the only ones that are losing their lives to gun violence. People of all races are losing their lives to gun violence. So gun violence is not a Black thing. So I don't want us to focus on it just being a Black thing. Gun violence is a national problem. And until we step in, we're going to have to sacrifice our time. That's first and foremost. Yes, we're going to have to sacrifice our time. But until we start to sacrifice our time along with our lives, then nothing will be done. No, we can't expect for Trump. We can't expect for Kamala, whomever win this up and coming presidential election, we cannot expect them to solve gun violence. No, Come on up off your knees praying. Although prayer works, however, when it comes to stopping gun violence, we're going to need to do more than just pray. Now, as I said, I would be bringing Miss Jackie up on the panel to discuss what she believes happened to her son. So I need everybody to give a welcome to Shanon's Howard James Pitt's mother, Jackie. How you doing, Jackie?
Good, Shank. Good evening. How are you?
Doing wonderful. Doing wonderful. Glad to see you.
Yes, good to see you also. Good to see you also, as always. So I'll tell you guys a little bit about myself. My name is Jackie. I have three beautiful children. Um, one of which who passed on February 15, 2024. His name is Shannon Howard James Pitts. Um, for the past 8 months, it has really been a fight. It has. And right now, I just want to raise awareness to what is going on. And I'm trying to, as a single mother, find justice, first of all, for my son. But that's not my only initiative. The initiative is to also help other mothers that are dealing with this fight without knowing what's going on. You're going in circles with the police department, the DA. It has to stop. And there's no telling how many mothers before me, because there are a lot of mothers before me that have the same situation going on. So I feel at this point, it's just happening to me because my heart always went out. But I would also like to put forth a foot to help those mothers and to help these young Black men, just like my son, to have better lives, because this street violence and this gun stuff has to stop. It does. It definitely
As a,
does.
as a little boy, tell us about Shannon. What sports was he involved in? What did he like to do? What made him laugh? What did he do for fun? Tell us a little bit about him as a little boy.
Um, Shannon was very athletic. He played football. He started out in football. He progressed in that. He actually became quarterback. When he became quarterback, he played for the Indians, Coach PK. He also played for the Rams too. But when he became quarterback, he definitely wasn't feeling that. He ended up switching all the way over to football. He came home one day, had already paid for his football stuff, and he was like, "Mom, I just don't want to do that." After that, he got that basketball. He was an awesome basketball player. I mean, I have video clips of him. I mean, he was awesome. He was actually due to go to UNCG. Well, UNC. He was a Duke fan. That was the funniest part. But he was due to go to UNC. Very smart, always had good grades. Uh, he did have a lot of little issues in school, being that I'm a single mom, uh, facing peer pressures at school, you know. So I won't say that he was perfect, but what child is? But he was definitely athletic, very funny. He loved music. He get that from his mom because I'm an artist. He definitely loved his family. He was very family oriented, loyal, very sweet. He's just always been a happy baby, happy child, despite different things he went through his life. You know what I'm saying? He's always been a good child. He's always been a good child. Definitely the funny guy. He's the funny guy. I'm telling you. But he's awesome. He's a great guy.
As a mother, tell us, because I'm a father, and I shared with you that I lost my 3-year-old daughter to cancer. And as a father, it destroyed me. But I always said that as much as I was hurt, I could only imagine how my daughter's mother felt. Tell us, as a mother, how did it feel that night when you arrived and you found out that he was no longer here with you?
So first of all, I didn't find out I was out there. Uh, so to actually run up and see my son right there, I spent his last moments with him, calling his name. I called his name that the loudest that I could. At that time, I had police, had me down on the ground and putting me in handcuffs. But I called his name one last time, and this will stand out to me. But when I called his name, his head just turned to look at me, and they just began to push on him. I till this day feel like he stayed there till I got there. I sent him to the store right around the corner, literally. And to know that that was the last time I was ever going to see my baby, I would have never thought. I mean, broken. I feel like there's no word in the dictionary, in the thesaurus, anywhere that can describe what I'm feeling and what I felt on the past 8 months. That day, I was like in a trance. It's like everything just slowed down. Everything stopped. And literally, my whole life since that day has been involved in trying to find justice for him, for everything that I've been dealing with the Winston-Salem Police Department and everything else. It doesn't make it any better. But there's no words that can describe that. There's no words at all. No words. I wouldn't wish this pain on my worst enemy. I wouldn't wish this pain on the mothers or whoever did this to my son. I don't even wish this pain on them because I would never want them to hurt like I hurt. It's a hurt that I cannot describe, and I don't wish it on anybody. I said I wasn't gonna cry, because I gotta be strong for my baby. But that is a feeling that I never want to feel again.
You take as much time as you need to cry. That was your baby. So as long as you would like to cry, you're definitely welcome. Now let's talk about what the cops allegedly say happened. They say that it was self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you believe that it was self-defense?
First of all, I'll start at the beginning. I never believed it was. I may sound crazy. I've even been praying, making sure I'm not out of my mind. But my son, and definitely, and the energy he has told me, no, Mom, no. And that's the connection I feel like I have with my son. So it started with my own intuition that something wasn't right. 2 weeks ago, I reached out to you and we received his autopsy. His autopsy is what indefinitely gave me. It indefinitely gave me reasons of suspicion, especially with the Winston-Salem Police Department. And that's merely how I know that autopsy within itself tells it all. There's no self-defense at all.
I had a chance to look at the autopsy, and in the autopsy report, it indicated that he was shot at least 8 times, at least up to 8 times in the back. It's hard to convince me of it being self-defense if the bullet wounds entered through the back. That means he had his back. He was not facing towards the individuals or individual who shot him, he had his back towards them. So how is it self-defense when he posed no threat to the individuals or individual that took his life? That's how I perceived it. That's how I'm looking at it. Are you looking at it the same way, or are you looking at it different?
I'm looking at it the same way. You know, I'm not the most legal person in the world. I don't know all the laws and the codes and the numbers to it, but I am smart enough to know that when you shoot someone in the back, that automatically rules out self-defense. Then the amount and extent of how many times, mind you, for 8 months, I didn't get this autopsy. I was supposed to got it from them, but I didn't get it from them. The medical examiner was nice enough to email it to me, I guess, because too, it was now public record. But at the end of the day, they were supposed to do that. They've been telling me that that's sensitive to the case, knowing how many times my son was shot, where he was shot at. I don't understand how that's sensitive to the case, but now I understand how it's sensitive, because at this point, we have an autopsy that states that it's not self-defense. I haven't spoken with the head homicide detective or anyone for 8 months. I've been calling down there, trying to talk to people. Nobody wants to call me back. Nobody wants to talk to me. I've had a meeting with the DA who wasn't on the case, and a detective that wasn't on the case. In that meeting, they began to ask me, they said self-defense. I began to bring up the fact that I have a concealed to carry license myself. I began to tell her I took an 8-hour class, which told me in which ways I need to go about proving self-defense. I am to get out of imminent danger, discharge my weapon, you know, put it down, alert the authorities that I have used my weapon for self-defense, and there you go. In this case, the person or whatever, whoever, you know, at this point, I cannot give you any of that, but I can say whoever, they took the time to leave the scene, abandon the car somewhere. This is from what they told me in the beginning to negate the self-defense statute. They abandoned the car. They left it somewhere. They didn't find the people, but then they found somebody, questioned them, and then they go and charge them with concealed marijuana or something like that. But I'm trying to figure out, first of all, the DA receives this information from the head homicide detective. I'm pretty sure that the autopsy was one of the main things that should have been brought up. So who ruled this on this case? And being that I haven't heard anything back from anyone, they're not giving me any type of information. One of the officers I talked to told me that if my son would have lived, he would have been charged with something. But since he's died, no one's going to get charged. That's not something as a mother that I can accept and take acceptance to. I actually thought he was being very facetious with me when he said that. And I asked him again, are you sure that's what you want to tell me? And he still went on to do so. But at this point, I need answers. And even if I don't get answers, I need justice. I need justice for my son. And I'm not understanding why the people that are here, of course, we've always had our doubts, but they want us to put our trust in them, give them information, don't go retaliate, don't go do all of this stuff. But when I'm giving you information, you're not questioning witnesses, you're not doing anything. That bothers me, and I just want to understand why. And as you know, when you seen that autopsy, there were no bullets recovered at autopsy. He had an exit wound and entrance, you know? So,
And the last time I checked, the autopsy tells it all. The autopsy, that's the whole purpose of the autopsy, to tell multiple things. The autopsy, we know, tells multiple things. It's going to show the cause of death. And with that, proof or with that evidence of the cause of death, that's when homicide, that's when the DA is able to rule out this, rule out that, come to the conclusion whether or not it was a homicide. The autopsy shows that it was 8 wounds, 8 gunshot wounds to the back of this man, of Shannon.
Yes. And I just don't understand that. And like I said, I had my questions in the beginning, but when that autopsy came out, it kind of just, it really gave me a bad feeling, because these are people of power. You know what I mean? And I really do believe in my heart that they thought I was going to get tired, or just let them tell me what they wanted to tell me. And I would just, you know, say okay and accept it. But I can't do that right now, especially receiving this autopsy. Something's not right. Something's not right. And I know it's a big accusation to feel like they're involved or they're covering anything up, but there's nothing else for me to look at besides that, because that's what it's showing. And if you're not talking to me, or at least letting me know anything, and if you have these theories that you come up with, show it to me. Prove it to me. Show me what you're saying as far as self-defense. Prove this to me. They never proved it to me. That meeting that I was in with DA Martin, she asked me, were guns on the scene mine? And I got very offended by that question. After 4 months of me waiting to talk to someone, I sit down and talk to a DA who's not on my son's case and a officer who's not on my son's case. And then you ask me questions of such. That didn't sit well with me. Frankie Gist, he was in that meeting with me. I forfeited that meeting, and I asked him to leave with me. He said, well, you can go ahead or what. And I said, well, they can't share information with you, because the only reason why you're here is on grounds of me. And I'm the only one. If they can't share information with me and I'm his mom, they definitely shouldn't share with you. But when he left that meeting, they gave him a scenario that they didn't give me. And I've been calling ever since and have not heard anything at all.
And we see this all the time. I see this situation all the time where somehow they make the victim seem like the victim caused what happened to them, and somehow the investigation of the crime, it's not done properly, and then it's always more to it. And then when it plays out, we find out the real truth. But why is this mother? Why is it taking this mother 8 months, 8 months and more to find out what actually happened to her son? As she's talked with me several times, she says, Shank, I could accept the hard truth if my son was in the wrong, and if my son caused it, if it can be proven to me, I'll accept it and I'll walk away. However, when the authorities are ducking and dodging this mom for 8 months, you all out there that have children, how would you all feel? If they're accusing your son of something, if they're saying this is what happened, and if for 8 months they ducking and dodging you, not only that, the autopsy is released and it shows the opposite of what they are saying happened to her son. Now, was there witness there, and was Shanan the only one that was there? As far as, did anybody go with him?
Yes, one person did leave from my house to go with him. Uh, and he has not been, from my knowledge, he has not been questioned or anything. This guy, this is how I found out where my son was. They left together in a friend of mine's car. And like I said, this is a less than a 10-minute interval, guys. This happened within less than 10 minutes. The store is literally right around the corner, and he was driving. But this guy that he was with, I don't know him. It's kind of funny because the day before I had told him, like, don't be around none of them guys. I don't like them. I never knew that boy. I woke up that morning. I asked my son, was he hungry? And he's always funny with me and says, are you hungry? Because usually I'm the one that's hungry. And I was like, okay, I'm going to fix breakfast. And he gave me a look and he said, Ma, such and such is upstairs, sleep. So I'm like, well, what are they doing here? I told you I didn't like this person. And he was like, well, Ma, he came for refuge. Well, not refuge. He was like, well, he came through this morning and I just let him chill or whatever. And I told him, I said, I said, but I'll make a deal with you. You're not to go anywhere with him. You're to stay in this house. They stayed there literally all day until my son left for the store about 7 something. Uh, to be honest, I put that guy in the ambulance to watch my son die. And I haven't heard from him since then. I reached out to his mom. She was not pleasant at all. She has nothing to say. She doesn't think anything is wrong with what is going on. And since that day, I haven't seen the little guy. I did hear that he's running around free, living his life, but nevertheless, I won't say that he's responsible, but he knows. We also have witnesses that have stated that other people were out there on the scene. We do have their names. We have given them to the police. And this is not coming from me because a lot of people have been thinking, oh, she's going and telling them. And I'm going to tell y'all now, if I find out anything, I will tell your name because people think that I'm scared or I'm not going to tell their names. But it's really not me. It's mutually from the streets talking, you know, and things kind of coming in. But the majority of it just been intuition. But overall, I don't think deep down in my heart that he's responsible, but I will say that he does know. And we all know that there are people incarcerated simply because they were with someone, not because they did the crime, not because they robbed a bank, not because they did the murder, not because they did whatever. They're merely in jail simply because they were with somebody. You got, let's take for instance, Shepard Cortland. He's dealing with this situation now. It's a different scenario, but same principle. 3 young people, they were facing the death penalty for shooting that off-duty cop at the Sheets, but they're facing the death penalty. That girl wasn't even in the store. She was in the car, but she is being charged with murder and facing the death penalty, you know? But then you turn around and you have my son who's shot. You know everybody who's on the scene, know everybody who's there, and you have yet to charge anyone. Different scenario, but same principle. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. And this the world that we're living in where it's okay? And then when I brought up this to some of the officers, they were like, oh, you're trying to bring the race card. I said, sir, I never said anything about race. I never once said it. I said scenario. Because not being funny, that off-duty cop could have simply just got the video or took their license plate, came and arrested him or called an officer that he knew and said, hey, I got some guys who've been stealing. Can you come and handle that? Vice versa, him doing maybe what he did. Now, I'm not saying that to say anything was wrong because I don't know, but I feel like that was a way that he could have handled that situation where he could have maybe saved his life. Nevertheless, we got 3 of them. They were facing the death penalty. They just got that off of them. But here we are with my son. They know everybody out there. They see this autopsy. And here we are, where I'm having to shed light on this situation to be able to get maybe somebody to step in. Because as a single mother, I really don't have the resources. They know this. And they think because we're already single mother in the hood or whatever they want to negate. They feel like we don't have the resources, in which I don't, but I know what to do to try to obtain the resources, even if I have to be the resource on my own. That's the fight that I think it's really bothering them that I just haven't given up. I've called them twice a week, every day, twice a week for 8 months. 8 months. So it's just sad. And with all these situations, even the guy, Jacob JT, they found his remains, but that guy, they gave him a $15,000 bond or whatever it was, and they found his remains on his property. This is unfair. So I just want to shed light to what's going on. And if there is anything that the police department is doing that is wrong, I believe that it needs to be brought out into the attention, because we need to get those type of officers out of there, because they're not even investigating these murders. If somebody dies, who can we trust to say they're going to put the footwork in? They're even using the young men that they catch to, you know what I mean? They catch them. Oh, they don't want to get locked up. So guess what? You give us information, you tell us this, we won't lock you up. And I kind of feel like it's gotten to the point where instead of them informing for information, they're informing, hey, you kill them, you can get away with it. And that's the thing that I refuse to want to have to believe. But you know what they say, you know? So that's yeah, it's sad.
Now, the person or persons that's actually responsible for your son's death, did the police interview them? Did the police?
I heard that they interviewed one person. They interviewed him. They said that he said self-defense. The guy supposedly that was with my child tapped on the window. He started shooting at him, and some kind of way my son got shot. This is what the police told me. I don't believe that. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And they did say they had talked to him, and this was from a detective. Bowles. He's a really smart ass. Excuse my mouth. Ooh, I did not mean to say. I didn't mean to say. He's really a smart mouth. He even told the father of my child nobody was going to be arrested for my son's murder. It's getting to the point where they're even harassing us, pulling us over, asking questions about me and my son. That's how bad it's really getting, and it's making me wonder, what are you hiding if there's nothing to hide?
That's right.
And it's just sad. I don't even really have. I told you, Shank, I'm in awe. I am really just taken by what's going on, and the thing is, I know this isn't the first time. It can't be. So how many times has this happened in our system where we fighting and nobody's telling us nothing? Nobody's giving us information or anything? No, that boy that they questioned, I heard they questioned him, let him go. Like I said, the car was abandoned. I don't know if they said my son got in the car, there should be fingerprints on the car. They said the car was in processing. Never once have I heard about this car. And if that's the case, why does he only get conspiracy to sell marijuana? Right. Where is the murder charge if he was there?
I also heard you say that one of the cops, or I'm not sure if it was the cops or someone, said that if your son would have been alive, he would have been arrested. He would have been charged with something. What was it that he could have been charged with?
They were saying he could have been charged with robbery. What they're trying to initially say is that my son went to go rob this guy, whoever. The boy, now this came out 2 months, 3 months later when I went to see the DA Martin. In the beginning, all they were saying was self-defense. DA Martin never told me about any okay, let me rewind. They told Frankie Giss that it was robbery when I left that room, which by law is illegal. When I forfeited the meeting, it should have been done. But they told Frankie that it was robbery. I have been calling down there since then to talk to someone to say, hey, How is this robbery? Show me or prove. Why would you tell him but not me? Why would you do that? And they still have yet to tell me anything. So I'm going to be honest with you, Shank. I don't know. I haven't heard anything. They haven't sat down with me. They haven't talked to me. The DA Martin, she's all of a sudden about to retire. I just seen that today. I went under DA O'Neill's post today, made a post saying, hey, look, I'm trying to get in touch with you. I haven't heard from you in 8 months. And I just want to get an understanding of how you made the ruling on my son's case. I've talked to a DA Sykes. She told me she couldn't, she's one of the assistant administrators in the district attorney, but she said she didn't have the power to set me up a meeting with this DA. I just don't understand that. And then this DA, Jim O'Neill, he's running for governor. So I'm saying this to say this. I'm not fearful, but I feel at some point that they may try to retaliate against me or try to do things, because the last thing that people want is these truths, and these people's jobs lie in place. If it's found that they didn't do some things right or didn't do something right, that can cause a lot of problems, you know. But I'm willing to go full-fledged for that fight. If they're saying what they're saying, fine. I never condone what my son did wrong. If he did any type of wrong, he was wrong. Even with the precise text situation, I wasn't aware. But when I got to my son later on, he began to explain to me what led to that. Nobody ever found out the backstory on that. But it was people, it goes on in the schools every day. 10 people trapping one person in the bathroom trying to beat him up. My son, what happened? They threatened to come up to the school and not only hurt him, but hurt others. You know, was he wrong? Yes, he was. He was definitely wrong. But does that mean he deserves to be shot down after a whole year and some change later, to be shot down 8 times and nobody's supposed to say nothing and we just supposed to drag that under the rug? No. No matter what anybody does, we all make mistakes. Really, my son's the biggest fault right now is he was hanging people that he shouldn't have been around. He was a good kid. Like I said, not perfect, but he was a kid that's got to have. We had an incident where one ever did. I was wondering why. Come to find out, they're a part of. You see what I'm saying? It's just so many litigating factors to this. And like I tell anyone, even if we exclude those factors, let's look at that autopsy. That's where it starts. Everything else kind of goes in, even though it happened before I got the autopsy. But the main thing is now I have that autopsy. And since I have gotten that autopsy, at this point, I'm thinking maybe multiple times, of course, it's more than 1, 2, 3 at the most. But to know how many times, he was shot 8 to 10 times. Left to right, downward, back to front. You see it for yourself. That's not self-defense. And if there's anybody in this world, maybe on this podcast right now, that can tell me that there's a way to show that this is not self-defense, help me. So I don't make these type of accusations. So maybe I'm not, because I could be wrong, but I just don't, deep down in my heart, and my son ain't letting off of me. He's within me. You see what I mean? He's talking to me. He's putting me on what I need to know. And it's crazy. But that's my main focus, to get justice for my baby. I need to know what happened. You know what I mean? I need to know. And if I don't know what happened, I need to see somebody arrested, something done somewhere, because there's no way somebody just gets away with this, because basically what they're saying is you can go shoot somebody 8 times and get away with it in the back. So
do you feel like if you wasn't black, it would have been handled differently? You would have got the answers that you were looking for if you wasn't black?
And see, the thing about it is, I'm not the one who immediately pulls the race card. Life is about perspectives. You see what I'm saying? So I've told them I'm not going to pull the race card on you guys. I pulled the scenario card. They wanted it to lead to the race card. So since they wanted it to lead there, that's when I say, okay, if your child, let's say Jim O'Neill's child as a DA gets shot down like that 8 times, I promise you anybody that was in the vicinity of that crime would be sitting downtown. Because maybe it might be my black son. They don't want to do anything about it. I don't want to think that way. Right. But we're living that life where we have to put that perspective in mind that this may be what's going on. And like we both said, it's not what's going on. Race doesn't play a part. Discrimination doesn't play a part. None of these factors play a part. So why aren't we just doing the fact of my job as an officer of the law to find the truth of what happened in this case? Follow all leads, even if it is a false lead. Follow it. You know, even if it is if it's jeopardizing to the case, I know they can't say names or certain things like that. But when it came to them telling me how many times my son got shot, how is that jeopardizing my son's case? Mind you, the lady asked me how did you DA Martin asked me, how did I know he got shot multiple times? I reached out to tell her. She jumped back as if I was dirty, like I couldn't touch her. And I said, look, I wasn't going to hit you or whatever you thought. I said, I'm touching and agreeing with you because I found out my baby got shot multiple times through a news. His name is DeKeith, whatever his name is. I don't even like him enough to say his name, DeKeith McKinnis. But he reported, the first thing he reported was the guy from Psych Tech, the suspect from Psych Tech has been shot. Said my name, didn't pronounce my son's name right or anything. I was very upset about that. You know, but that's how I found out that my son was shot multiple times. That was when they first put the news article out. 8 months later, I found out that he was shot. And that ain't multiple. That's just outrageous. And I know my son ain't did nothing to nobody as far as to that extent for them to do anything of that such. That was something, that was just pure hate. Now, I have one incident where I didn't want to think this way, but as you know, I showed you some guys standing over my son's grave with guns. Well, not his grave, but his memorial with guns. I don't believe in my heart they did it, but when you look at it, that was a stupid move for you to do on the internet. And the police, they do have that. And I don't know if they're looking at them as suspects or not. And I wouldn't want them to, but from what they did, I'm hoping you didn't do that for clout because it kind of makes you look a little bit guilty. But nevertheless, I'm not going to point fingers at anyone until I'm still not going to point fingers until I'm able to see where it's directly coming from. Because at this point, I don't know if the little boys or whoever were out there did it or if the police did it. Because at this point, I'm feeling like, who?
And I thought I uploaded the actual clip of them kicking over, of the individual kicking over your son's memorial, but I uploaded this one. But as you all can see, this is a picture of Jackie standing next to her son's memorial, and an individual came by and kicked the memorial over. Was it that one time, or was it multiple times that they vandalized the actual memorial?
They only came that one time. Now, we did have an incident where some little boys went to somebody else thing, and it was on the Facebook and stuff. They went to some little guy's grave and tried to mess it up. So they came back over here and messed up my son's. But we know we de-escalated that. We figured out where that came from. And ever since then, we haven't had any issues. So I know for a fact that's not what's going on here. You see what I'm saying? Because we haven't had any issues or whatever. And not only that, those guys, the first guys, they stood over and took pictures holding weapons. You know, so like I said, I'm not pointing the finger, but that was a real dummy move to go do something like that because the police have that.
You went out, Jackie. You went out, Jackie. While we wait for Jackie audio to get fixed, make sure you all are sharing this. Make sure you all are sharing this out. Help me and Jackie make Shanan's story go viral. It starts with you all. As Jackie said, she's going to fight until she has no more breath in her, no matter how small, no matter how big, no matter what she have to go through to get this the attention that it needs, because that's what it needs. That's what it needs. It needs media attention. I can promise you, when it gets media attention, I can promise you, they won't be ducking and dodging you then when it hits the media and it goes viral. So we're just asking for everyone that's watching this, share it to your social media platforms. If it's Facebook, if it's Instagram, if it's YouTube, if it's Twitter, whatever social media platform you have, share Shanan's story and help it go viral. That's what she needs. She needs this to get as much attention as it can get. So I have to stress it. Please share this to your social media platforms and help make it go viral. Hashtag justice for Shannon. Howard James Pitts, or
Out
hashtag.
this nonstop. You know, name non, but we using that the last three of his name, Justice Nonstop. Hashtag Justice Nonstop. Hashtag Long Live Non. Whichever way, like I said, I'm trying to raise awareness. This is not only just for me, guys. This is for all the mothers out here fighting and the mothers to come, because it's not going to stop. So I just simple support, guys. I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for anything. I'm asking for a simple share, simple keep it running the social media, like my guy Shank said, and I would greatly appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. Eventually, I will set up his Justice Nonstop nonprofit that I'm trying to begin. I'm in the process of starting that now. And I will extend like my cash app and stuff, because I'll be needing help to try to find lawyers and things like that. But right now, the main thing is trying to get attention to what is going on, because it's not fair to these mothers. It's not fair to me. So if you have children, even if you haven't lost a child, just put yourself in my shoes. What would you want to do? What would you do? That's it. And I thank each and every one of you who are watching. And I would thank you very much for all your love and all your support. I really do.
We appreciate you for coming up and sharing your son's story with us. You know, I'm just a phone call away, a text message away, whatever I can do to assist you. I will be contacting you tomorrow and going over the next step that we need to take into getting, you know, this the attention that it needs. Is it anything else that you would like to say to us all before you leave?
Nope. Just thank you guys for watching. Thank you for taking the time to listen. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you, Shank, for everything.
All right, you're welcome.
Okay.
So we got work to do. We have work to do. I say it all the time. You never know. You never know when it will be you in the same situation that Miss Jackie is in. Look, this is a problem, a community problem. It's a worldwide problem. It's not just a black thing. We got to get involved. We got to do our part to bring an end to gun violence. Trump, Kamala, they cannot stop the problems of gun violence. They can play a part. Some of you might say stricter gun laws, but best believe, no matter how strict the gun laws are, people will always be able to get their hands on a gun. It's not up to Trump or Kamala. They only play a small part. It's the people. It's up to the people. It's up to me. I'm doing my part. Is you doing your part? See, we can't worry about what he is doing. We can't worry about what she is doing. What are you doing? I'll challenge anybody. What is you doing to make your community? What is you doing to make the world a better place for us all to live in? I'll tell y'all your first start. And it don't take no money to do this, and it don't take time. The little bit of time that it's going to take, you're already spending that little bit of time doing it anyway. I'm talking about social media. Do you know how powerful social media is? Social media is where everyone is at. Everyone comes to social media for more reasons than you can imagine. But if you're on social media, hashtag, if you're on Facebook, let's do this. For everybody that have a Facebook account, okay, this is what you do. Hashtag Shanan. Matter of fact, can I get somebody to put, well, y'all see the hashtags down there in the chat, okay? Hashtag justice for Shanan. I think Miss Jackie said hashtag justice. I can't remember the hashtag that Miss Jackie said, but somebody dropped that hashtag in the chat. And if y'all don't see it in the chat, I'll make sure I drop it in the comment section. I'll drop all of the hashtags in the comment section. Drop that hashtag on your Facebook, whatever hashtag you want to use. Along with the hashtag, put the link to this video at the end of the hashtag. If you don't know how to do the link, go to this video, go to the share. Okay, there you go right there. So here's the hashtag that Miss Jackie, there you go right there. Hashtag justice nonstop. This is the hashtag. Hashtag justice nonstop. Put the link to this video at the end of the hashtag. Go to the video, click share, and when you click share, it's going to come up, copy the link. Copy the link. Then when you put the hashtag in your comments, push your finger down on the comment thing, the link gonna come up. It's gonna come up, copy or paste, hit paste. That's how you share the link. Whatever social media platform you have, hashtag justice nonstop with the link to this video. That's all we're asking. That's all we're asking. I will be bringing Miss Jackie back up on the panel, and we'll let you all know what's the next stop. Okay? Jasmine Stone says, I need y'all to make this go viral. I didn't see your comment at the time, beautiful. Let me throw it up on the screen. Jackie, if you're still watching, Cordy B says she loves you. Cordy B is the one that actually passed the story on to me. And she told me that a friend of hers need help. So, Jackie, if you're still watching, Cordy B says she loves her. I appreciate everybody for pulling up. We have work to do. All right. Make sure y'all help this go viral. All right? We're counting on you all. We're counting on you all. Shanan is counting on you all. We have to get the answers that Miss Jackie is looking for. And she deserves those answers. The questions that she had, she really only had one major question. Well, it's not even a question. She's just saying, if you're saying that my son's death was self-defense, it was due to self-defense, can you prove it to me? That's all she's looking for. Once again, I appreciate everybody for pulling up. Share the live. Help us make this go viral. We can make it go viral. All right. One person shared, one becomes two. Two becomes four. Four becomes eight. Eight becomes 16. So never think that it's not enough of us. Sometimes we get discouraged because it may not be enough of us that's in the fight. Might only be three of us. And we might say, man, three of us ain't going to make a change. Three of us ain't going to make a difference. Always know 3 turns into 6, 6 turns into 12, 12 turns into 24, 24 turns into 48. I can go on and on and on. But I'm not going to hold y'all no more. I appreciate everybody for pulling up. Throw some prayer hands up for Miss Jackie. I appreciate y'all, and I'll see y'all on the next demonstration. Now, for all those that don't know your son, what can you tell us about your son? What type of son was he?
He was the best. Very funny. He was a funny guy. Always the funny guy. I will say that. The life of the party. Very smart. He was an all-A scholar. Always made honor roll. Very good in school. Very respectable to everyone. He was definitely about to go to college and everything. They told him he couldn't graduate due to the circumstances of what had happened at Forsyth Tech. Which I don't speak on that much because it's a lot that came with that also that was neglected. Nobody ever knew the backstory on it. They just seen what had happened with that. It definitely didn't define who he was as a person. It was a reason behind that. Whether it was a good reason or not, I don't condone his wrong. He was definitely wrong for that. But there was a reasoning. But there's no reason. And if there is, I would like to know what it is. But my son was awesome. He was great. He had the potential to just do any and everything. He overcame every obstacle that was put in front of him. Even without his dad, that was one of his biggest fights, you know. But he even dealt with that and became to be a strong man, a strong individual. So no matter what was put in front of him, he was a fighter. He fought till I got here. He was shot 8 to 10 times, and he did not stop breathing until I got here. So I feel like in some ways he might have waited for me to get here. I was right around the corner. It happened less than 10 minutes. It was less than 10 minutes that everything happened. But he was great. He was great. It had a big major impact on me and my family and everyone around us. He was awesome.